In this video, I'm going to be putting a National League striker in one of the best teams in Europe for a full season to see what would happen. Now, for you lot that don't know what the National League is, it is the 5th tier of English football, so way off the Premier League or any other leagues that are equal to that tier. And the National League striker I will be using is this man here, Macaulay Langstaff. He sounds like a household name already. For Notts County this season, he has bagged 22 goals in 24 games. So I thought if anyone was going to be a suitable enough candidate for this challenge, Langstaff was it. Now I had a striker, I needed a team, and I searched far and wide for the right European club to take him on. But most big clubs already had a prolific marksman, until I checked Bayern Munich and I remember they lost this guy and now they are using this guy. And how I see it, if a player from Stoke City can play for Bayern, what stops a player from Notts County? So Langstaff packed his bags and moved to Munich. I put him in the squad and I found out he was a 1-star striker for Bayern. Can't believe it! To make matters worse, I noticed Langstaff was being criminally underpaid. So as his boss, I gave him a wage increase of 400k for 5 years. Only if my boss did that for me in real life. I was so confident he was going to live up to his pay rise. And well, if not, we can always file for bankruptcy. Now, before we go into the Bundesliga season, I had the German Super Cup to take care of against Leipzig. I didn't expect much from Langstaff due to the team being such a strong side, but there were some wonder goals in this game, with an absolute laser from Goretzka and an unbelievable goal from Garvadal that hits the bar and goes in. Neuer had literally no chance. Then come to the end of the game when we had no hope for another goal, Langstaff, with all the composure in the world, dinked one over the keeper for a big 4-2 win. And that ticks off our first bit of silverware for this season. With that all over, we got stuck into our first couple games of the season, and they were both dry ones for Langstaff, as we beat Freiburg and Wolfsburg 1-0, and he didn't score in both games. Let's not kid ourselves, guys, he is a 1-star striker after all, so I didn't expect much anyway. Then moving to the Bochum game, he started to find his feet with Kimmich assisting him for his first Bundesliga goal, but unfortunately that's the only one he scores in that game in a boring 1-1 draw. But he was just saving his energy, as against Borussia Mönchengladbach, even though he missed a few stinkers, and I mean stinkers, he did manage to score his first brace. I was honestly so stunned that a striker like this could even find the back of the net against a half-decent side, but he did it. After that, we had the Champions League, and our first game was against Liverpool. But this is where I actually messed up, guys. I didn't register Langstaff, so he couldn't play until next year. Yes, I know I'm an idiot. You don't need to tell me. So I sipped all the Champions League games until Langstaff was eligible. Honestly, though, I was in no rush putting Langstaff in European games anyway, as he was doing solidly in the Bundesliga, scoring another goal in a big 4-1 win against Union Berlin, with an absolute thunderous volley, and also scoring his second brace against Stuttgart. First one being a penalty, and the second one a solo run and an ice-cold finish. But not only that, he also scored more vital goals, like the one against Bayer Leverkusen in the 1-1 draw, saving us from a loss on our record. And after 10 games in the league, we had 7 wins, 3 draws and 0 losses. But that did not matter. What mattered was Langstaff's goal tally, and he had accumulated 7 goals in 10 matches. He was the second top goal scorer, for God's sake. I know I was joking about the ridiculous wage I handed him, but if he keeps us up and wins the Golden Boot, I can't really laugh at the wage increase I gave him. He also didn't shy away from cup games, assisting Mane for his goal, and also putting one away himself from the spot in a 4-1 win against Wolfsburg. And then a few games later, he breaks his own record for National League strikers by scoring his first hat-trick of the season against Mainz. Now quickly segueing from the league, as I said before, I simmed my Champions League games, and after 5 of the matches, we were second place. Liverpool had already qualified, so it came down to the final game. We had 8 points and Inter had 7. So who was going to take the last Champions League place? Well, not us, as we had to play Liverpool away from home and we lost 1-0. So Europa League football, here we come.
What kind of place is this?
Really, looking at the situation from afar though, I wasn't too fazed again, as we were doing great in the league with Langstaff scoring a 90th minute winner against Schalke, and he also terrorised Leipzig again when he scored the only goal in a 1-0 win. Unfortunately though, he could not save us in the German Cup. We bowed out on penalties because De Ligt is actually retarded. Then after a couple more wins in the league where we beat Wolfsburg and Mane scored, and versus Bochum where Langstaff placed one in the bottom right hand corner to increase his tally, we were at the 20 game mark and we still hadn't lost a game in the league. I mean, we were Bayern Munich, I guess I can't be too shocked, but I was still happy. I was honestly over the moon with this. And Langstaff was doing Langstaff things, and he had 13 goals in 20 games. Look, I get it, he wasn't first in the goal tally, but from going from non-league to Bundesliga football and putting up these kind of numbers, like, come on, it's not too bad at all. After the stat analysis, we had some Europa League action against Monaco, where we breezed past them easily, with one of the goals coming from a pinpoint shot by Langstaff in the bottom left-hand corner, making that his first European competition goal. Even in Europe, this man does not miss. But we do get unravelled in the second leg, where we lose 1-0 to a Ben Jedd goal. But it wasn't an issue though, as we still managed to qualify. We had the draw next, and I wasn't bothered who we got. We are Bayern Munich, for God's sake. It doesn't matter who we come up against. We should win this trophy quite easily. But either way, we actually did get a really good draw. We actually got Dynamo Zagreb.
Fucking brilliant!
Langstaff did not let up in this part of the season. He kept the consistency and tucked away another goal in each game versus Union Berlin and Stuttgart. Moving on, we had the Zagreb game, and Langstaff was hungry for more goals to build his dynasty, having an attempt that goes straight at the keeper, and the rest of the game was the same. No goals were scored. It was another draw for Bayern. But in the second leg, Langstaff comes out of his shell, where Bayern and Davies play some lovely football, which then Davies directs one into Langstaff's stride, and we all know it's going to hit the back of the net, sending us through to the quarterfinals, which we got drawn Benfica to play us.
I love it. In fact, it makes me really horny.
At this point, Langstaff had scored in his last 3 games. He was so on form right now. Mbappe, Messi, Haaland, they should all be scared. There's some competition at the top now. And I'm not even joking, Langstaff was actually trying to put himself in that category, as he saved our arse in the game against second place Bayer Leverkusen, as he scored a hat-trick, one of them coming off his noggin to guide us to a 3-2 win. Again, yes, he wasn't perfect. He did miss a few shots that a nugget could probably score. But when it came down to it, every single time, he always produced goals. So that's all I cared about. And he did not stop the scoring streak against big names. Dortmund were our next opponents, and he didn't mind getting a cheeky brace against them, making this an insane streak of form. How could he take this to the next level, may you ask? Probably by scoring 4 goals in his next game. We battered Freiburg, and he took their souls by being as clinical as you possibly can, which also awarded him with a Player of the Week spot as well. After the Freiburg game though, we had the first leg of the semi-final against Benfica, which we needed this prolific finishing from Langstaff to continue. And he does deliver with a goal, but it was not enough, as we do concede 2 goals, meaning we're 2-1 down going into the second leg.
Bloody knobhead.
But just before that massive game, Langstaff had some unfinished business in the league, scoring this disgusting Henry-esque goal, taking it off the chest and smashing it the right side of the goal. The guy had so much confidence, and I hope the team was getting some from watching him, as we were a goal down against Benfica and we had them next. Actually, you know what? Screw the rest of the team's confidence. Langstaff is enough, as he scores probably the most critical goal this season for Bayern, putting us level in the tie. But to no avail, as nothing separated us against Benfica, so the rest of the game came down to penalties. And I knew I had to put Langstaff on the 5th penalty. Like, the man relished in pressure, like it was only right. Benfica missed their first penalty, and then after that every other penalty was scored, which left our last penalty, and here stepped up the ex-Notts County man to potentially take us through to the semi-final of Europa League. The fans and the team's hearts were pounding. Did Langstaff have it in him? Of course he did. He put it away to take us to the semi-final of the Europa League. The man was a god. From National League striker to Europa League semi-finalist, I have seen it all. I was on a bloody high after this game, and after another Langstaff assist and a penalty versus Werder Bremen, we had Leverkusen in the semi-final of the Europa League, and Langstaff knew a thing or two about scoring against them with his hat-trick earlier in that year, and he makes no mistake in putting us in the lead. And even though they get one back with a header, Langstaff finishes what he started and scores a second, giving us the advantage going into the second leg, which we absolutely dominate with ease and moves us to the final of the Europa League, which will be a battle against Sporting. Before that though, we had the last game in the Bundesliga season against Leipzig. We go convincingly 2-0 up, and Langstaff bows out on a great note and sends one away to win 3-0, which after that he celebrates with the lads, lifting the Bundesliga trophy. And he deserved to lift that trophy, as he pretty much carried us this whole season. So in the end, we actually ended up with 79 points in the league, easily winning it with a 7-point gap from second place Leipzig. But before I show you the stats, we had one more bit of business to take care of. Bayern versus Sporting, under the lights, in a final, you gotta love it. Now I would hype this game up more, but to save you some time, nothing happens for 90 minutes. They then proceed to press us and score in extra time and beat us and lift the trophy. I was very sad. I cried.
Couldn't care less.
But enough crying. We needed to see what kind of damage Langstaff did this season, and he got 30 goals in 34 league appearances. Like, that's insane. A 1-star striker from Notts County putting 30 goals away anywhere is good, let alone at the top level. Well, there we go, guys. That is the end of the season, and what a season it was with the non-league striker. If you guys want to see another type of challenge, please put it in the comments and I will try to attempt it. Anyway guys, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you in my next video.